So I thought I'd be a bit different in today's video and not only have another Richmond Football Club draft video, because again, that's not really the different part. I've made about 888 different versions of them on the channel, but be a bit different in terms of I'm actually going to be going over every player who Callum Toomey has linked to the Tigers with their later first round picks. So I'm not talking about the Tigers in taking pick 1 and pick 6. We already know that they are looking at Sam Lawler and Josh Smiley, Jagger Smith, etc., with those picks. But I'm talking about 10, 11, 20, 23, 24. Those type of picks. I'm interested to see who Richmond are going to be, of course, selecting. And of course, there's a ton of different guys here that we're going to be looking at that the Tigers are, of course, interested in. But before we do get into all of that and more, I would just like to say there is still a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos on the channel who are not yet subscribed. So if you guys could do me a massive favor and, just hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Of course, it makes me happy inside. It means that I don't have to go up and sit on my bed, chuck on some XXXTentacion and just start crying myself to sleep. So, you can prevent all of that by subscribing. Thank you. But of course, the first player we're actually going to be going over is a player who I spoke about in a recent video, which I highly recommend you guys going and checking out. But it was about Beau Allen going to, Richmond, getting a lot of interest from them, I should say. Again, I highly recommend you guys go and check out that video. But if you would like just a little bit of a quick summary, of course, the update here does say that Toomey has linked very closely Beau Allen to Richmond. Again, this post by Tiger Ambush actually says, I'd hope he's not a flight risk, given he'd be around 10 to 11. Considering we've just lost 2 of our best players to go back home to WA, is a really good idea grabbing another WA player when there is a ton of Vic talent available. Again, Beau Allen, for those of you who don't know, is about a 191 centimetre inside midfielder / halfback. He's in that weird height range where he's not a key defender, but he might be honestly too tall to be a genuine halfback. Some people see him as a tall inside midfielder. Again, I spoke about it in the other video, but to shorten it here, I don't really like that pick by the Tigers, and I'm not sure I would do it, especially if they're going with the tall midfielders of Smiley and Lawler with their higher picks. But again, if they didn't take Smiley at pick 6, then yeah, cool, let's bring in a tall midfielder there. But if they do, it's you're making it too tall. There's already too many tall midfielders in there with Taranto, Hopper, Ross, previously Graham, and it's already a very slow midfield. So let's maybe avoid that for a bit and look to go after some speed. But again, there's a couple other players here and there. First of all, there's definitely a couple key forwards that the Tigers are looking at with these picks. And this is all being reported by Callum Toomey. He's actually talking about Jobe Shanahan here, saying, where does he go? Strongly linking Richmond as the first candidate, saying Richmond, Port Adelaide, GWS, West Coast, and Sydney are all viewed as the most favourable clubs to get Jobe Shanahan in the first round. Of course, other clubs are trying to use their future first round picks to buy back into the early stages of this year's draft. Could also eye him should he get through a few more picks. Again, Jobe Shanahan would be a really interesting target for Richmond. I believe a 194 centimetre key forward who actually just played in Essendon's VFL team for a lot of games. I believe even one of them he kicked 5 goals, which is outstanding that he was able to do that against the legitimate competition of literal grown adults. He's doing that against grown blokes who would probably kick the shit out of me if they really want, instead of course, doing that against under 17s, under 18s type competition, which he's been doing for a bit, and of course what most players are doing. He took that next step and went to the VFL and made sure he got some extra good competition in, and he just so happened to kick 5 on some poor defender's head. So again, he definitely would be a really good candidate for Richmond there. There's some other key forwards here though, like Jack Whitlock, which just says that where does he go? Right in the mix for Port Adelaide at number 13, while Richmond has also considered with its back-to-back picks number 10 and 11. Sydney will also wait to see if any of the key position forwards get through to their first round selections. So again, Jack Whitlock is the 200 centimetre key forward who I think could hopefully take over from Tom Lynch if they want to go with that direction. There's also Matt Whitlock, the twin brother, saying that he looks likely to fit into the 15 to 30 market of this draft. The Giants could look at him, as with the Swans, while the Tigers are another club who could go that way if they want to add a versatile tool to their draft bounty. Again, the only difference between Matt Whitlock and Jack Whitlock is a lot of people consider Jack to be the better play because he, I believe, is a better key forward, while Matt actually had to move down back in certain games for his team this season. Again, I think teams still view Matt as a key forward, but the fact is he, I believe, played as a key defender for most of the recent season. So whatever team gets Matt Whitlock, it will be interesting to see where they put him positionally. Again, I don't think Richmond would go with Matt Whitlock if they wanted him as a key defender. It would be as a key forward, but if they're going to go for one of them, I definitely feel like it would be Jack, who is the more favourable of the two and looks like the more genuine key forward. The only thing that I find weird is I actually know someone who knows both of these guys, and he actually believes Matt is the better player and thinks that Matt has much more potential in the league, which is the complete opposite to what a ton of AFL experts have said. So, again, I trust this mate with a lot. He knows so much about the draft, and again, he's living through it all right now. So, the fact is he thinks that Matt is the better player really does tell something to me there. But again, I think there are a couple guys the Tigers could look at in terms of key forwards. Another guy, though, if you're looking at Matt as a backman, another key defender the Tigers are reportedly looking at is Luke Traynor. With it being said that Traynor looks set to come into considerations in the latter stages of the first round. Sydney, with picks 19 and 22, could look at him, while the Tigers, with multiple selections, could also be in the mix for the backman, as may be the Bulldogs. So, again, I don't know if the Tigers will go a key defender here. I think, realistically though, the Tigers can go best available because they are in that much of a position for development, even though the only position they flourish at right now is their backline and key back stocks. They could be like, you know what, even though we flourish at that right now, we're still like ranked 10th probably in the AFL there. So we still need to get better back there. So Luke Traynor could be a guy they look at, and if they think he's best available at that pick, I wouldn't be surprised. If that fly comes on my screen again, pause. I'll be very pissed because he's literally cock blocking this. So if you guys see a fly hanging around, just know that guy might not be here while, at the end while I click finish on this video. Rest in peace, fly. We're going to name him Ezra Miller because I know a lot of people don't like him. So yeah, tough for that fly. So yeah, as I was saying before I got so off track by Ezra Miller the fly, they could just go with Luke Traynor if they think he's best available. And as I said, the Tigers need a lot. So that's something they could definitely go with. But a player who I think Richmond will be interested in a lot is actually Toby Travalia. You guys have been telling me I need to do more research on this player, and I have over the last couple of weeks. And he genuinely seems like the best halfback in the game, if we're not necessarily counting Alex Taru as a natural halfback anymore. Again, Toby Travalia. There is a report here, though, that says that Travalia is in the sights of just about every club between picks 8 and 15. He is in considerations for St Kilda and Melbourne and is being closely tracked by Richmond and has West Coast. Fremantle and the Giants are also keen. One of those looks set to land the rock-solid prospect. Again, as I mentioned, our backline is pretty decent. It's an average backline in the game. It's the least thing we need to work on. But at the end of the day, we're going to be needing to get the best available. And although it's the least thing we need to work on, we still need to work on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Richmond went down that direction. He's arguably the best halfback in this draft class. We just lost our best player, who was a halfback, in Daniel Rioli, and Jaden Shaw is definitely getting up there in age. So they could really be looking for a good ball user like Travalia here, and that could be, the direction we, of course, do go in. The only other player here now is Alex Dodson, who is the number 1 ranked ruckman, I believe, in this draft class. It says, where does he go? Who needs a ruckman? Is it the perennial draft question on where the best ruckman lands? Richmond, with its haul of picks, could look at Dodson to grab a young ruck. Again, I think Richmond will be looking at midfielders, key forwards, probably a halfback, probably a small forward, basically every single thing under the sun. And that's not even to mention a ruckman, because we got to remember, I believe Toby Nankervis is only contracted for 2 more years. I think he will re-sign for another year and he'll stay till about 2027, which will keep him contracted till he's about 33. Now, considering Toby at the age of 30 just had his best ruck season of nearly all time, like it was one of his best years, realistically, I don't think Toby Nankervis is going to be slowing down anytime soon. And the realistic thing is, even if it does, it doesn't matter, because he's probably still going to go to Tasmania in a couple years, considering they're going to want to bring in veteran talent to help out all the young ones, especially leaders. And Toby Nankervis is a captain of the club and from Tasmania. So I think he'll have 3 years left in the yellow and black. And then I think he'll go to Tassie most likely, or just retire, I guess. But the end of the day is, right, Richmond are going to need a ruckman after those 3 years, and they might even need a new ruckman in like 2 years. So you get in Alex Dodson now, you could develop him for the next couple years or so. It kind of makes sense for them to go and get a ruckman with one of their later first round picks or their early second round pick. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this, of course, all does go. There are a lot of players here that Richmond are very interested in. I've spoken about all the midfielders and whatnot. Today's video, we just talked about mainly the key forwards, the backs, the halfbacks, and of course, the ruckman in Dodson. So again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions down below. Where are we going to take these guys? And are we going to take most of them, all of them, or none of them? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'd very much like to hear them. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest sports content and news. Subscribe to my gaming channel, my IRL/vlogging channels. All of them will be getting linked in the description down below. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.